It's Jack Pinter. Mate, what are you not up to these days?
Well, I can't go to the theater. You can see it behind me, so I thought I'd bring the theater to me, and just to have that feeling of being out in this exciting live, interacting audience together and seeing something live on stage instead of just the four walls and my dear family. But I've seen them before.
Yeah, you don't know how that story ends, but you can guess. Very nice, very nice. And our previous encounters, we've been very optimistic, talking about energy and opportunity. Maybe we're going to take a bit of a darker turn today. What have you been thinking about, Jack?
Well, I obviously I've been thinking about drama because there's still a lot of drama in people's lives, at least the people that I'm speaking to, and I'm sure it's the same with you, Matthew. Is that there's a lot of people who are in they're down, they're lonely, they're fearful, they're scared, they're worried, and anxious just about how long this is going to last and what the future is going to bring. So, kind of a high drama atmosphere.
No, and I hear what you're saying. That's sort of the 2 a.m. sweats, a nebulous anxiety. Now, you're never one without a sort of practical twist. Where do we start today from taking us from that dark low to somewhere else?
Yeah, I think we have to look at the way we think about emotions because we say things like "I was overcome with fear," or "I was drowning in sorrow," or "I was possessed by anger." So we see these emotions, things as kind of some things that kind of take over us. And when we say things like "I'm angry" or "I'm scared," it almost seems like we have become the emotion. The emotion has taken over us. We are one and the same. Our identity is allied with the emotion, and I think that can feel overwhelming, and especially as we tend to be people who think, well, rational is more important, emotional is something I have to deal with, but it's not something that I'm going to embrace. It's not something that necessarily helps me, which, of course, biologically, historically, is not true.
Yeah, exactly. If we didn't have fear, we'd be dead in 60 minutes because it wouldn't be that cautious self protection, self preservation idea. Okay. So,
Absolutely. And I heard, Matthew, about a woman had something going on in her brain, who could not feel fear, and she'd nearly been killed twice by boyfriends. And someone would draw a knife, and she would feel nothing.
yeah.
So didn't have those prompts, those essential prompts, as you say, these things that keep us alive, that keep us well, our emotions. That's what they're there for.
So we've got this ridiculous polarity of being swamped in sweat and stress, or the fake belief that humans are rational. And it's probably somewhere in between that we can exist. So where do we go with this?
Well, I think the first thing is to disidentify from our emotions. And instead of saying I am angry or I'm afraid, you can just say this is anger. This is fear. This is anger that I'm feeling now. This is fear that I'm feeling now. And I actually like to take this a step further. And I like to think of certain emotional states as being characters that you would see on a stage, like the stage behind me
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And I think we have two stages. We have the stage of our thoughts when we're by ourselves often, and then we have the stage when we're with other people
Other people.
as well. And which I like to think of as these emotions as a character. So, for example, I have a hurt character who likes to remind me of all the times when people haven't treated me well, all those clients who haven't asked me back. I'm sure you've been there as
One
well,
or two.
Matthew.
One or two.
All these times where I've been rejected or haven't been accepted or haven't been embraced. And this character comes out on the stage. And by the way, it has a completely different personality than some of the other characters to come off that stage. It's very mopey. It's very victim oriented. It's very sorry for myself. And while I recognize that it has something to say to me, and I'm going to listen to what it has to say, I have to think, wait a minute, is this the character that I actually want on the stage right now? Do I have an opportunity to bring out a different character?
I love it. I love it. So yes, we've got this. So the bad news for our viewers is yes, schizophrenia is a lot nearer than you think. But I love it. So that's the second method where really we can totally get a different perspective, almost a distance from this thing. Anything else that we can move or shift or play with?
Well, I think I think, like I said, accepting the emotion, I think is really important, and just
Yeah.
to listen to it.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say to me right now?
Yeah.
For example, is my I hurt character trying to say to me, take good care of yourself?
Yeah.
Don't firm up your relationships to people. Understand how people are thinking about you, and also maybe what my I heard character is also saying to me is, do you really want to take this seriously? Or maybe it's not personal. Why my I hurt character takes everything personally. It's all about, oh, poor me. And I
The
think,
poor
okay,
mistake.
but wait a minute, do I want this character on stage? I've listened
Yeah.
to you, I've heard you, but can I bring somebody else out on stage that is going to be more radiate more energy,
Yeah.
radiate more energy in myself, to my thoughts, and also would I want to bring this hurt character to a interpersonal situation? Probably not. To an interaction with others. So I think just to remind ourselves that we do have choice around who's on our stage at any moment. We can assign a director to go, do you know what? You off. We've had enough. I've heard you. I know you're there. I know you're probably gonna be part of me for the rest of my life. You've got your moment. You want to come out and have your moment on stage. But in this moment, I'm gonna ask you to sit down, and I'm gonna bring somebody else out here
I
to play
love
this
it.
next
Or
scene.
there's another metaphor. So we've got the shepherd's hook bringing them off. Robert Dilts used to talk about sort of sitting down with the devil. And he'd ask people to get a scenario. So we'll go back to the theatre immediately. But I always imagined a chalet, a wooden chalet up an Austrian mountain. And the devil would sit down, and it would be rejection, hurt, a lack of love or cruelty. And you would sit down, you would have a cup of tea, you'd respect that character. So we're trying to achieve the same thing of distance. I'm okay, you're okay. Hello, devil, how you doing, mate? Have a cup of tea. And you're listening as the student. You become the student of evil, the student of the devil. And you go, right. And it's actually with love. It's actually to protect you, to project you forward, to find the possibility. It's a real flipper. It's a real reconciliation with this thing. We're finding our peace with these dirty little grubby characters to go on, to move forward.
And absolutely. And if there wasn't a devil, how would we know what an angel was?
Exactly. Exactly.
There is no light without darkness.
Exactly. If there's no death, there's only half a life. Very
Absolutely.
nice. Very nice.
Mm.
Is there anything? Is there anything practically people can do? Everyone's going to go onto Amazon and look for shepherd's crooks. How can the wonderful viewer do something, think something, be something?
Yeah, I think it starts with awareness. And I think even when we're by ourselves, we can say to ourselves, okay, who's on stage for me right now?
Lovely.
Is it my creative character, or is it my worry character? And just to think, just to stop, spend a few moments during the day, especially when you're feeling uneasy. I think, okay, wait a minute, who's on stage? Okay, I'm just going to pause for a second. I'm going to
Yeah.
turn to this character on stage and say, okay, what are you saying to the whole ensemble here? What have you got to say? I'm not going to push you away, because I know if I push you away, you're just going to keep coming back, keep pestering me, keep pestering me. I'm going to let you have your say. Like any actor cast in a play, they want to get out on stage and say their lines. They're well practiced, they're well rehearsed. They've been waiting for their moment. They're going to have their moment, damn it. Just let them have their moment and go, okay, I hear you. You're here with me. Now I'm going to think, wait a minute. Do I want you to stick around with me here in this moment? Or am I going to say, go take a seat in the audience now? Take a break. Go back to your dressing room. Have a
Yeah.
cocktail. Have a cup of tea. I'm going to take this scene forward with a different character. So I think it starts with awareness. Who's on stage for me right now? And then to get into a place of of mastery, of choice, to think, okay, who would I like to have on stage? And just to be clear, we have this huge ensemble of characters that we can draw on in any moment if we become familiar with them, if we name them. And not only that, we can borrow other people's characters. We can develop characters that we never had for the situation. And in fact, maybe the situation, lockdown, is crying out for a different character, a different manifestation of you in this moment. And what would that be that you'd like to bring on stage?
How many viewers are saying, channel me some Jack Pinter? A lot, a lot. Leave your comments just below, just below, just below. I love it. I love it. So we've got this idea of the screaming, irritating actor needing some stage time, need to be listened to, needing some applause, needing a hug, needing some love, or some microphone time. And that being okay because there's a valid message. There's a benefit to listening for them. We don't like the tone of their voice, but we can listen and take the richness from their message. And yes, exactly. So we've got this team. I'm thinking of a sort of, I don't know, Team Sky bus of non-drug taking superstars, and we can call upon the sprinter or the mountaineer or something else. We've got these different characters, and we might name them in different ways. The salesperson, the lover, the humorist, the creativity superstar, the problem solver. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Can we go dark here, Jack? So I suppose you've named it. You've got this hurt character. What about your superhero character? What label would you give that?
Well, I think of my superhero character as being like inspiration man. Now I'm choosing a superhero here, so I could even take a little superhero pose
Oh,
here
yeah.
because I think once upon a time I asked my wife, like, if I was a superhero, what would I be called? This is a very dangerous thing to do. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah, yeah.
recommend it to
Yeah.
everyone. And not only did she give me the name Inspiration Man, she actually made me a shirt, just a top. And I sometimes when I go into programs as a joke, I rip off my outstern shirt and I show my Inspiration Man shirt. But there's a funny thing about having a uniform.
Yeah.
For example, let's think about superheroes for a moment. Why does Superman need a cape? He can fly anyway. He could fly in Clark Kent suit. He doesn't need to have lycra in order to have superpowers. But I think the reason why we clothe superheroes is it's about intention. It's like, I am going to become this super
Good.
character
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I'm making this clear by putting on a costume which says everything that I do now will be super. So you could certainly have something, a reminder, a hat, a scarf, or something that you're going to put on. This is my jacket. When I put on this jacket, I'm going to be the superhero, and that's a way of signaling to the fear character or the anxiety character or the hurt character. Do you know what? You're not here anymore. I'm wearing the inspiration coat. That's who I'm going to be, and that's who I'm going to take forward in the scene. And just watch.
So we have some homework, really. By the way, I think my answer would be it's very chilly on Krypton. You need that. He's got a bad shoulder. He's got a sort of cricketer's shoulder, and I think he's got a bit of arthritis or something like that. So what's the homework for our viewers? I think you've just given it. Do you want to sort of state the homework? What's the reflection they might begin?
I'd say after, even as you're watching this, who's on stage for you right now? Is it your curious character? Is it your bored character? Who knows? You've got loads of them, and just think, okay, do you know what? I'm going to check in with myself, uh, and at certain points of the day, who's on stage, and is this the character I'd like to have on stage?
Yeah.
And I think especially because we have so many fewer interactions with others, when we do connect with people via video or on the telephone or whatever, just to think intentionally, okay, who do I want to bring out here? Who's going to play this scene best? And it might be a few different characters inside a 5-minute conversation, but just to think
Yeah.
about who I'm bringing to the show today.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I think that's more than enough value. You are a dependable character. When Jack Pinter's on the stage, even if it's just in your mind as a viewer, then buy a ticket, bring other people, get soda, lock down for an entertaining show. Jack Pinter, as always, thank you so much, mate. Maybe we'll do another one of these. If we've got any more inspirational thoughts from Captain Inspiration, well, we Inspiration Man or Captain Inspiration? Or both?
Inspiration Man, come on, get my name right.
Inspiration Man. He's touchy. Inspiration Man's quite touchy about his name. He's also got Lawyer Man. He's got Lawyer Man. It's just behind him. I'll sue you for copyright infringement. Mate, it's been fantastic as normal. Thank you so much. We'll see you again. And thank you, viewers. You have your homework from Pinter Man, the inspiration engine. All right, take it easy. See you.
Take care.